So we're good? We're going? Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming in.
Of course.
Second episode of the podcast. We just got new mics. Woohoo. Elisa's not in because she's sick, so I'm taking over. And we're here with Shaun Sanders from VentureCraft. He is a marketer, a brander, an app creator, business and law professor, and graphic designer. So much. And so cool. Thanks so much, Shaun, for being here.
Thank you
Can you
for
tell
having
us
me.
a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Oh man. Okay. So I work with startup companies or early stage technologies. My firm does what we feel is the most important asset that an early stage technology company can have, which is a story that people care about. So we create business plans and strategies or investment stories and investment decks that resonate with their audiences, get them to understand the problem, why they should care, ultimately why they should put money in.
Super cool. Yeah, all about stories. So what is an entrepreneur to you?
Oh man. So an entrepreneur to me is someone who is comfortable either making decisions or finding success based on limited information. So incomplete information, the ability to dive in and know that you can figure it out.
So I feel like for a lot of people, that's kind of scary, like jumping in and initiating when you don't know everything and getting blowback from that. What advice would you give to a new entrepreneur who is scared of starting?
So the first thing I'd say is just look into all the history of pivots that are out there. So some that we talked about earlier are just knowing that some of the largest companies, like Android, starting off as being a operating system for cameras, right as the camera market was dying, and decided to pivot and now be one of the largest smartphone operating systems out there, or Pinterest adapting, different companies, just knowing that it's okay to fail, because failure either A, lets you know that it is a bad idea and then you can move to the next one and not waste time or money trying to develop it, or B, find out how to pivot to make it work better. So that's the first thing. The second thing, especially for younger audiences, is just to know that no one really knows what they're doing in life. We're all just doing the best we can. Like, I've been in boardrooms with very powerful, very wealthy people, and we have struggled to do basic math on things. Like, we're pulling out our calculators to do basic percentages, or wondering how you do things that anyway. The point is that I think there's an assumption that at some point, if you work hard enough and you learn enough things, that things just suddenly make sense, and that there's no more risk, or there's no more I don't know. It never happens. It's just you are continually just learning as much as you can do, learning as much as you can learn, and doing as best as you can do while just kind of chugging along forward.
Yeah,
so
that's really good advice. Thank you. And then, so what you had a unique high school experience as an entrepreneur. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I was late diagnosed with dyslexia my senior year of high school. So I nearly flunked out. So my high school was, I transferred high schools. Then I did homeschool, and then I did night school. And so by the time I figured out I was dyslexic, I was a senior and then barely scraped by, barely graduated. And then after that, decided to spend... Well, I didn't decide, but I ended up spending 4 years at a 2-year community college to figure out what is my learning style, what works best for me. Was able to. From there, I then went and got my business degree at Dominguez Hills, graduated top of my class there. Then I went to law school, was in the top 6% of my class there, was able to get a full scholarship. So it all kind of worked out in the end. But yeah, the high school was, as I mentioned before, one of the reasons that I became an entrepreneur is because I figured I wasn't going to graduate. I knew my dad's a pipe fitter, and every morning on his way to work at 4 a.m. he'd come in and do a little prayer, wish us luck and everything. And his goal was to have us do well in school, so we didn't have to break our backs like him. And when you know you're not good at school, then you have to figure something else out. So that's what kind of got me into all right, I'm going to start a business. The first business I ever had was a marketing company that refinanced mobile homes, which was a weird thing to do in junior high. But someone...
How old were you when you started that?
How old are you when you're in 7th grade?
7th grade? Oh,
yeah,
gosh.
so 7th or 8th grade is probably...
13? 12?
It wouldn't be
14?
12. It'd probably be like 13, 14,
Yeah.
probably.
Wow, that's super cool.
But at the time I was good at marketing. I was good
Mm-hmm.
at search engine optimization, and I found a referral company that would pay me like $750 per double wide, and I'm like, yeah,
Wow.
okay, let's sell some mobile home refinance.
That's so cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
this started so early. And so you said that like being a risk taker is one of the biggest things in entrepreneurship. Have you always been a risk taker?
I've always been a risk taker, but not without consequence. I have anxiety. I have moments where I, bite off more than I can chew, and like
Sure.
I get, the panic attacks or anxiety. It's never like, it's not like I'm okay with a risk where I just jump in without like any type of realization that it could go
Sure.
wrong. But I have, I've never had an issue with failure, I guess. I've never had an issue with like, okay, this didn't work. I'm crushed. Now what do I do?
Yeah.
I've always been, for some reason, okay with, all right, that didn't work. What's next? Like, what do I do next?
Yeah, that's a good mindset.
So that kind of plays into risk, because risk is just a fear of an outcome. And if you're not really too worried about that, then yeah,
Cool.
it works out.
Yeah, that's super cool. All right, we're almost done. So last question.
All right.
What advice would you give to your high school self now?
Oh, that's a good one. Know your value and know your worth. So if you are scrappy, and if you are a hustler, and if you have a bunch of talent, you will likely find yourself in positions where you will be taken advantage of by other people in the ecosystem, other entrepreneurs, other business people who are looking for free labor or free this or that. And like, it's okay to value your time and ask for money and compensation. Like, it's okay to know that even though it's weird sometimes to ask for money or ask for a wage for certain things, it's totally okay. Because a lot of my earlier work, I just did, to get my foot in the door. And, there's benefits to it, but I've learned now that there's no reason I couldn't have gone back and charged more or charged earlier. Because being young, it's about what is the thing you're building? What's the outcome? What's the deliverable? That's what matters. It doesn't matter the fact that you're younger or that you have less experience if you solve the problem in the way that the client cares about.
Yeah. Yeah, that's super good advice. Cool. Thank you so much for coming in.
Very welcome.
Oh, I just hit the mic. Yay. And thank you so much for coming in.
Very
and
welcome.
talking to our class and everything.
All
Super
right.
cool insight. Yeah.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, have a good day. Yay.